Transgender people are born transgender. It's not voluntary. By not outlawing discrimination, you are unnecessarily persecuting patriotic citizens, war veterans, teachers, accountants, lawyers, engineers. People in all walks of life have this phenomenon, this birth variation, called transgenderism. I'll wager you have a transgender person in a closet in your family. Does religion make you persecute us? Do you persecute us because in your heart you truly believe we are not God's children? I quote chapter and verse showing you in black and white, no interpretation, that God does not judge us by outward appearances. God judges us by what is beneath the surface and in our hearts. We dress and live in accordance with what is inside us, in our hearts, and in accordance with the Bible's Deuteronomy that fanatics with blinders use against us. Do you persecute us because you fear losing a vote in your job? If so, your persecution for personal gain is a corruption of your office and Americanism. Such corruption for personal gain is overkill. Until the next census, no issue can unseat you. What has happened to the Republican Party? It's been gripped by extremists, not conservatives, not even ultra-conservatives. It's yielding to extremism. Only extremists would deny human rights to its own citizens. You betray your constituents' trust to promote liberty and justice for all before personal gain. Your persecution of transgender people is incompatible with all concepts of humanity, human dignity, and has no place in society. My greatest fear is that extremists will someday rule my country. Extremism eventually leads honest citizens to anarchy and chaos. Our county, state, and national constitutions cry out, pass the law, pass the gender clarification law, and pass it now. I have one thing other I'd like to mention. I would like permission to speak directly for perhaps 10 minutes to the majority and minority councils.
You mean at another time, not talking about now?
What?
At another time. In other words, I'm looking to make an appointment.
Oh, at a future appointment.
Yes. Okay. All right, just contact my office if you would like. And we'll see if I can do it.
Mr. Astudi, and Mr. Klein.
Contact Mr. Astudi.
Yes. Do I need?
Yes.
Sorry.
Thank you very much.
On behalf of the Minority Caucus, feel free to reach out to my office and
Thank
reach out
you.
directly to either Peter Kleins or Michelle Russ.
Thanks.
Legislator Jake.
I can't talk loud, but I have to tell you something. You know, I know a fight is hard when you believe in something. And sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. I'm telling you from all my years of experience, this will happen. There was just an article in the paper, I think it was a week ago, about prejudice against transgender people in a restaurant. If I recall the story, am I right? An Irish pub? Okay, I just want to say to you, sometimes you have to just stick with it. I know you've been like unbelievable in that, because so many of us came here from a background of fighting at windmills. My father-in-law always used to say, so what happened? Did the windmills, did you win? And you know, rarely do you win at the beginning. But this is not going to stand anymore. People have grown. People have learned to accept. And when we don't accept each other, I don't know where we are. So the only way to avoid these extremists taking over is to realize what we're supposed to do. And I think I can't believe it won't happen. Otherwise I'll join you wherever you want to go. Because if we can't do it in our country, and we should be ashamed of ourselves because it's certainly accepted all over. But as I said to you, remember, part of the problem here is two interpretations of our civil rights law. Human rights, we thought we covered everybody. And you made some very good points, which there's a certain disagreement to that. It's not that anyone wrote the human rights law for Nassau County years ago, thinking we left anybody out. If we ever did, it would have been in there, period. But there's always room for movement.
You know, there was a dispute which the minority council said we're not covered under the current law. The majority council said we are covered, and the county attorney, I have the letters, said that we are not covered. So if there's any dispute about that, I mean, if there's any doubt, why allow people to be discriminated against? There was just an incident in Holbrook, and I think a bunch of people had a transgender demonstration. I don't know if you read it in the news there. It happens all the time. It happens in jobs. You don't know how frightened people are.
It's really unacceptable. It really is. So we have to stand up for what's right. And as I said to you, if I ever knew that a simple description of what gender is could solve this whole problem, I don't know what's taking so long.